We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. Man, Lord.
The only way they could get their money back was however their money back. He said, but Lil Cam Wolf and Big Caprice are the three. I'm up, I got the next, and they passed the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting against them up. In town.
Boosie just called out J. Prince Jr. over Duke the Jeweler's setup, and now J. Prince Sr. is firing back. For years, folks blamed Boosie for Duke's said he lined him up, but Boosie's done staying quiet. He's naming names, pointing fingers, and putting the heat where it belongs, on mob ties. Now the internet's flipping, and the Fed's already digging. But who really pulled the strings that night, and why is J. Prince Sr. firing back? So, back in November 2022, 29-year-old Duke the Jeweler got gunned down in what was called a robbery just after attending Boosie's concert in Houston, Texas. And just like that, rumors exploded that Boosie either ordered the hit or knew who did. Word on the street was the two men who ambushed Duke were tied to Boosie, not just random dudes, but family. The internet ran with it, and while Boosie stayed silent, the streets started pointing hard. Folks bought that version for months, but now the streets are circling back, and this time they're side-eyeing someone who's been lurking in the background. J. Prince Jr., the son of Houston's so-called hip-hop godfather. While Boosie took all the heat, the real mastermind stayed clean, quiet, hidden in plain sight. But now, the mask is slipping, because the details don't just look shady, they look planted. Boosie was never the kingpin. He was meant to be the fall guy, allegedly. Why? Because he was there. He performed that night, allegedly invited Duke, and rumors had it that Duke's Louis Vuitton bag turned up in Boosie's house. But none of that proves motive. It proves Boosie was close, not complicit. And that's exactly what made him the perfect scapegoat. See, the fall guy is always the dude who's already drowning in legal battles. And Boosie, he had baggage, gun cases, the Terry Boyd trial. His name still tied to charges he beat years ago. He was already guilty in the court of public opinion. Just needed the right story to pin it all. Now Boosie's done staying quiet. He's breaking his silence, calling out J. Prince Jr. by name, saying flat out, y'all tried to line me up. Said he didn't even know Duke like that. They met at a dice game, and the next day, Duke showed up to his concert solo. Hours later, he's dead in a parking lot. Robbery? Nah, something ain't adding up.
We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot.
Boosie's calling it what it is, a setup, and folks are listening now, cause Duke didn't get hit in Baton Rouge. He got gunned down in Houston, a city Boosie don't run, but guess who does? J. Prince Jr. And now, even Houston locals are screaming online, Boosie didn't do that. This ain't his city. One user wrote, if you from Houston town, you know what happened. Boosie has nothing to do with it at all. Another dude put it bluntly, saying, why would Boosie set a robbery up in a place he is not from? That would be very bold and disrespectful. Y'all be quick to say anything with no facts. While this other user fired J. Prince Jr. directly, saying, Boosie did not have anything to do with that man's death. Look at J. Prince Jr. And guess who was sitting at that dice table too? J. Prince Jr., the same dude who's allegedly been running Houston's check-in culture with an iron grip. Sources say if you're an artist, rapper, influencer, whatever, you don't pull up in H-Town without tapping in with the princes. And Duke, he checked in, still got smoked. That ain't just shady, that's predatory. Because the check-in system ain't about protection, it's power. Takeoff checked in too, got lined up. Big U been doing the same out west, allegedly, making artists check in with him so they get lined up.
Any real dude that's ever really been in LA, he checked in. Any real dude that's ever been in Atlanta, he checked in. If you moving and you getting money, you gonna check in because you need to know the right places to be and places not to be. That's a businessman.
But word is even rappers like P&B Rock allegedly checked in and still got lined up. Schoolboy Q said it best, rappers are getting robbed by the same people they check in with. It ain't protection, it's extortion with a smile.
I mean, everybody be checking in. That's your favorite thing to do, check in with somebody that's gonna rob your stupid ass.
Wow.
Yo, you think that guy, the guy that you don't know in California got your back?
So Duke the Jeweler case been screaming sus, and that's when the entire internet flipped. Because that dice game, it wasn't just rigged, but fatal, and Boosie was never the boss, he was the bait. But then it got even messier when Wack 100 jumped in, loud, raw, and unfiltered. He didn't mince a single word. Wack straight up said the dice game was a setup, that Duke the Jeweler wasn't robbed, he was lined up, and the ones who lined him up, accuse according to Wack. That's J. Prince Jr.'s crew, Lil Cam, a tight circle running a rigged dice table where the house always wins unless somebody slips up. And that night, Duke slipped right into their trap. Wack said it clear. Duke started hitting dice that weren't meant for him, and that broke the whole setup.
There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler around and got past the dice on accident and was hitting all them for a couple hundred because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however their money back. Lil Cam Wolf and Big Caprice are the three designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting against them up whoever's in town.
And when you mess up a rigged system run by ego, money, and power, somebody has to pay. And Duke did with his life. According to Wack 100, J. Prince been brainwashing folks for decades, pretending to play protector while he's really pulling strings in the shadows.
As J. Prince, over the years, the decades of doing whatever he's doing, he's been having a way of brainwashing people.
Oh yeah?
To thinking he's doing one thing when he really up to a next.
But Wack wasn't the only one talking. Charleston White jumped in too. He said Duke's death hit different, not just because he was talented, but because it was preventable. Charleston called it out, said mob ties created an environment in Houston that ain't just unsafe, it's deadly. Artists check in thinking they'll be protected. Instead, they get pulled into loaded games, surrounded by sharks. He said Duke got played, not protected, checked in with the wrong crew, and got clipped for stepping out of pocket, not out of disrespect, out of naivete.
These industry, these street homie, that's projecting these rules and then coming here playing like they admirable men with street rules and street exit. Nah, homie, them little was set up that night.
And Charleston didn't stop there. He dragged the whole industry, said this ain't protection, it's extortion in disguise, a sick, unspoken code where silence equals survival. He said what most rappers are scared to even whisper. Duke's death wasn't random, it was ritual. But now, the silence is breaking. Even 50 Cent threw fuel on the fire. He didn't say much, but what he did say, enough to make folks raise eyebrows. He reposted cryptic clips, dropped captions that hinted deeper truth, and subtly backed Boosie. Then came the Finesse 2-time situation, and that one really sent the whole thing into a spiral. Word is J. Prince Jr. allegedly got Finesse's girl pregnant behind his back, and FNG No Love was loud about these claims.
You heard Junior was the father, and after your mom did her due diligence, you know, what was your thoughts?
I think that this girl that had the baby, I think she used to work around Junior. So I believe bro bumped into her around Junior, you know what I'm saying?
And if silence is guilt, this one's screaming cause J. Prince Jr. said nothing to shut down the rumors. Finesse, who once praised mob ties, now don't even say their name. He ghosted them. All that's left is cold distance and awkward tension. The vibe? Annoyed. Off. The loyalty? Dead. Now fans are seeing the cracks. Takeoff slaying, Boosie's public call out, Finesse's fallout, the same name popping up in every headline. J. Prince Jr. And the internet is flipping because the silence ain't holding no more. It's looking like the empire built on fear is starting to collapse. One user wrote, J. Prince has set up so many people and has had several people knocked. Another wrote, J. Prince took him out, not Boosie. Now Duke the Jeweler wasn't just another dude with diamonds. He was a self-made king out of Chicago. No industry favors, just raw hustle and real talent. He kicked off in the early 2000s, sketching pieces in a cramped studio, flipping nothing into greatness. And it wasn't long before his one-of-one creations hit the big leagues. Vogue, Elle, custom work for Rihanna, King Von, 50 Cent, even Boosie. His designs weren't loud, they were legacy, and that's what made him a problem. Duke's stock rose fast, and when power meets independence in this industry, somebody always feels threatened. Duke didn't just walk into the wrong room, he walked into a lion's den wearing gold, trusted the wrong faces, shook the wrong hands, and walked into the wrong room. That room? A high-stakes dice game hosted by J. Prince Jr.
Man, Lord.
Sources say he cleaned house that night, ran up $100K on the table, and that win might have sealed his fate, because right after, he was robbed, stripped of his ice, his cash, his phone, and shot, not once, but multiple times, like somebody wanted him gone. The industry still ain't healed. Duke's hit different. It wasn't just a robbery, it was a well-planned out execution. His death felt personal, deliberate, and now Boosie's trying to clear his name, telling folks he had nothing to do with it. When footage surfaced of Boosie's reaction to Duke's death, man looked shattered, couldn't speak and express himself, like he really didn't see it coming. And maybe, just maybe, he didn't.
He was walking to his car or something, and some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. I had just met dude yesterday. We was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in a garage. We heard this.
But now J. Prince Sr. is firing shots Boosie, flipping the script, calling him the one setting people up. But the streets aren't buying that noise, because Takeoff got taken out in the same city, and the coroner said he was hit in the head and torso multiple times. That don't sound like no stray bullet like the investigators claimed. That sounds planned. And now J. Prince Sr. is clapping at Wack 100 for backing Boosie's claims, calling him a clown, calling him loud. But the streets saying he's just trying to dodge the real heat.
If you think about him, he's a clown. Like, I love the hip-hop culture. I'm in love with the hip-hop culture. Blood, sweat, and tears went in my movement for the hip-hop culture.
This ain't just about Boosie or Duke. This is about a system built on fear, silence, and fake protection. It's about how power gets when artists are forced to check in just to walk through a city they don't run. It's about how successful dudes like Duke, who built everything from the ground up, still ain't safe in the room they earned a seat in. Duke's death didn't just leave a void in the jewelry game. It cracked something deeper and exposed how dirty the game really is. Boosie says he was the bait, finessed 2 times, fell back. Takeoff checked in and still died. And now J. Prince Sr. is scrambling. But if this was just the beginning, who's next to speak or disappear?